Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news out of Ecoflow land, which is probably just China. We have upgrades to the rest of the lineup of batteries that Ecoflow is producing. As you may or may not know, the big one already got an upgrade. The Delta Pro 3 has been out for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months now. It already got its silver upgrade, leaving the small and medium batteries in a bit of a lurch. That was until yesterday. I received an email from Ecoflow, you probably did too, I'm not special, that there was going to be upgrades to the small, the River, and the medium, the Delta, the kind of Delta 2 models like we have sitting here. So the first upgrade we're going to talk about is the small batteries. Coming out next week at time of filming is going to be the River 3. The River 3 is going to have 245 watt hours and roughly 300 watts of output. Not bad. Small portable units. The next one above that, which is coming soon at time of filming, is going to be the River 3 Plus. The River 3 Plus has a little bit higher watt hours at 286 watt hours, but it has a higher wattage output of 600 watts to power bigger things. And finally, they have a River 3 Max, which is just a River 3 Plus with an additional battery. That one has about 572 watt hours and the same 600 watt output. But as it stands right now, the Deltas and the Delta 2s are still in their black and gray phase. They haven't gotten upgraded to the silver until now. Coming out next week is the first set of upgrades for the mid-size, which is going to be the Delta 3. The Delta 3 series looks like it has 2 units in it so far. It would be the Delta 3 and the Delta 3 Plus. The Delta 3 series looks like it's an upgrade to the Delta and the Delta 2 models, but not the Delta Max or the Delta 2 Max. As the Delta 3s, both of them have 1,024 watt hours and an output of 1,800 watts, unlike the Delta 2 Max or the Delta Max that have a 2,000 watt hour capacity and a 2,400 watt output. Also, curiously, with the announcement, like I said, there's 2 units. I'm mainly focusing on the Delta 3 Plus. There is a Delta 3, but when you click on it, it just shows you the information of the Delta 3. It looks like the units are relatively similar, except for the fact that the Delta 3 only has 500 watts of solar input, where the Delta 3 Plus has 1,000. When you look at the units, they look like they are probably going to be smaller in physical size. I don't know the weight of them. There was nothing listed, and obviously I don't have one, so I couldn't weigh it out for you. But I'm assuming with advances in technology, if they're able to shrink it down, perhaps they're actually able to make it a little bit lighter. The Delta 3 is designed to be the upgrade of the Delta 1 and Delta 2 series. It's showing roughly the same power specs. However, it is showing that they've developed some sort of technology inside to have it charge even faster than before, which is pretty good considering how fast these things charge. And also, one of the things that I've noticed is they really engineered the output on these to switch over quickly to be used in a UPS style usage. The previous ones were roughly 30 milliseconds or so. With the new Delta 3, it's going to be less than 10 milliseconds, so you could use one of these as a UPS or in a UPS setup. All that being said, that does bring me to the meat and potatoes of why I cracked on the camera and why I wanted to talk about the Delta 3. Now, in the previous clips I've just shown, you may have noticed something. And in my last video, which just like this one is unsponsored, that's why there's not a Delta 3 sitting right here, I had a couple of gripes about the machine itself. Now, before we get into the gripes or rehashing the gripes, I do use this machine all the time. I really use it. It's got plenty of war wounds on the top. This thing is well traveled, well used, hasn't really let me down at all. And the battery in and of itself does work great. I said that in the first video, and now a year removed from that video, I still think this is a great unit. I'm not interested in adding extra batteries. The capacity on it works well. The output powers almost everything that I needed to do. We recently took it to a race. It cooked breakfast for everybody on an electric griddle. No complaints whatsoever. That said, the one complaint that I did have, well, let me just play you the clip. Secondly, personally, I don't like the fact that the outlets are on the back and the screen is in the front. I mean, honestly, how many people are using the USB outlets as opposed to the AC outlets? They should be all together. Like I said, I'm putting this in a cabinet, and now I have to make a choice whether I have this facing outward so I know the information of the unit, charging level, all that kind of stuff, or do I put it back facing out of the cabinet so that I have access to the plugs and I can actually plug things in? I don't know. And now I don't know if anyone at Ecoflow watched the video, but did you notice on the pictures on the Delta 3? Where are the outlets? I'm not saying that it's good to be a curmudgeon. However, it is good to be honest. Now, I don't know if they watched it. I don't know if they even considered this. But I think my biggest gripe about the machine has been fixed on the Delta 3, and I'm taking credit for it. And now Ecoflow does have a trade-in program. Am I going to upgrade to the Delta 3? To be honest, no, not at this point. The Delta 3 that's being advertised right now, which is the Delta 3 and the Delta 3 Plus, have lower capacities than this Delta 2 Max that I have now. That's not to say that in the future they're not going to have an upgrade to this specific model, but as it stands right now, with the announcement that came out yesterday, the 1024 watt hours and the 1800 watt output is less than what this has, so it's more suited as a replacement for a Delta or a regular Delta 2 or even Delta 2 Plus. It doesn't reach the Delta 2 Max level just yet. We'll give them some time. Perhaps that's in the future. So that said, I'm not planning on upgrading this unit unless they make a Delta 3 Max. And then I would consider it because it bothers me now just as much as it did a year ago that the plugs were on the wrong side. They've now fixed it, so now I'll start to consider it. So with these updates, did Ecoflow make the ultimate solar generator? Not yet, but we're getting there. If the increased capacity comes at a later date and the plugs are in the front and the low milliseconds as far as the UPS is concerned, yeah, you're getting pretty close. If and when a replacement comes out for that, I'll pick that up. I'll make a review on that and show you any foibles that they came up with along the way. But at time of filming, no pricing has been announced. They're not even on the store just yet. But assume they're going to be right in the between $1,500 and $2,000 range. Maybe less than that. I honestly have no idea. That information hasn't been announced yet, again, at the time of this filming. So it just goes to show you, being honest, being unsponsored can affect change. Did they watch my video and put the outlets in the front? I don't know. I'm going to claim they did, though. And when they did, they only made a better product. So I'm happy. That's it. That's all I have for today. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not recording, or you're not talking now.
Oh, I'm still recording. You'll be in the blooper reel.